The old lady stood frozen in place as she watched the 8 giants crash to the ground with dull thuds, one after another. All the calmness and confidence she had earlier on had completely vanished into thin air and were instead replaced by downright fear. Those were the 8 giants. They were renowned bounty hunters who had yet to fail before this. Ever since they set foot in the field, they had been revered by all and had never missed a single target. No matter how great their opponents were, they had been able to wipe them out without breaking a sweat. She had thought that with the 8 giants working alongside her, everything would have gone smoothly without any hiccups. Who would have guessed that they'd be defeated in a matter of seconds? They did not even have time to react. What freak of nature was this man standing before her? Those are the 8 giants that you've been harping on about. Pretty weak, aren't they? Dustin shook his head. How dare mere mortals who had yet to achieve divinity dream about assassinating him? You! What tactics did you use? The old lady was so flustered that she stumbled several steps backward. Panic was evident on her face. I have only one question for you. How many more of you bounty killers are after me? I don't know. We bounty killers work independently. That's enough. You can go straight to hell now. Before she could even complete her sentence, Dustin sent another silver needle flying with a flick of his wrist. She, too, dropped dead on the spot. The Bounty Killers was an extremely mysterious organization of bounty hunters. Every individual in the organization was an expert at what they did, and each one was more powerful than the one before. He had to call off the bounty on him and Natasha as soon as possible, or it was going to mean more trouble for them. Just then, his phone started to ring. He answered the call to find that it was from Maximus. Dustin, things are looking ugly here. The boulder thorns have surrounded the medical center. The boulder thorns? Dustin frowned. Were they sent by Royal Valor? You're right. Royal Valor sent all their elites along too. Even their best warriors are here. They're here to kill you. Go hide somewhere, and whatever you do, remember to stay away from here. Maximus warned him. They were severely outnumbered. As powerful as Dustin was, he could not hold up against all of Royal Valor's warriors surrounding him. I know what to do. Take Caitlin and bring her out of there. Dustin ended the call. What's wrong? Natasha asked worriedly from beside him. Nothing much. There's just a minor complication over at the medical center. You head back to Park Place first. I'll make it up for dinner tomorrow. Dustin smiled at her assuredly. Okay. You take care. Natasha nodded at him and drove off without any further questions. What an exciting evening. Who would have guessed that Royal Valor would join in on the fun? Dustin scoffed. He hailed a cab and went straight back to Peaceful Medical Center. Boulder Thorn was a major sect of the Balerno martial arts discipline. Dustin had intended to keep things peaceful between them, but since they refused to back off, he would gladly face them head-on. At that moment, there were more than 20 cars pulled up around Peaceful Medical Center, surrounding the place tightly. All surveillance cameras in the vicinity were destroyed, and every alley in the area was blocked by Boulderthorn Guild members. Not a single person could get past their barricade. Several hundred elite Boulderthorn Guild members stood at the door. A murderous aura surrounded them. They looked like they were prepared to annihilate whoever and whatever that stood between them and their goal. Maximus Kane, I'm asking you this for the last time, where is Dustin? A young man in a white shirt stood at the forefront of the crowd with the tip of his sword pointing squarely at Maximus. The person was none other than Keen Tavello, the second most senior guild member of Royal Valor. After the death of Tatum Thunders, he became the ace of Royal Valor. In order to win the guild members over and for them to accept him, he had to avenge the previous ace of the guild. Keen Tavello, if you must know, Dustin has already left Swinton. If there's anything you need from him, you can come to me, Maximus declared loudly. Ha! You ignorant fool. I see you're the type who refuses to cry until death stares you in the face. Keen was infuriated. With a light tap of his feet, he swiftly leaped towards Maximus in an attempt to take him down. I have long since heard that you're adept with a sword. Let's have a look at how good you are, then. Maximus wasn't daunted by him in the least. As a burst of energy coursed through his body, the sword that he carried with him on his back was unsheathed, and with a single-handed forward motion, the sword launched through the air, aimed straight at Kirrin's chest. Kirrin let out a grunt and sliced through the air with his sword. He brought down a shower of sparks on himself as his sword made contact with Maximus' sword, which sent it flying. Maximus sprang upwards with a whoosh and accurately caught his sword mid-air. Then, with a quick flick of his wrist, he used the illusory sword technique. As the name suggested, it was a technique that cast an illusion on its opponent, causing a momentary distraction. With Dustin's guidance, Maximus advanced in his swordsmanship. Now that he had mastered the illusory sword technique, he used it and cast an illusion of countless swords flying around in the air, all aiming at Kirrin. It was an extremely impressive technique. Superior skills indeed. No wonder you're behaving so arrogantly. Kirrin shot Maximus a glare and no longer held back, unleashing all that he had. In a split second, the calmness of the night sky was broken by the sparks of swords coming into contact with each other and the whoosh of rapid movements. The crowd of elite Boulderthorn Guild members instinctively backed off to make space for them.